What is up, Knicks fans? Welcome back to another episode of Fireside Knicks with your host, Dylan Backer. And today I'm going to talk about Josh Hart, because yesterday he was phenomenal against the Sacramento Kings. A 20-point triple-double, 20 points, 18 rebounds, 11 assists. That's his third triple-double of the month, sixth triple-double of the season, which already ties his career high for the most in the season. He has just been unreal this year, and I want to talk about it today because, with the whole all-star stuff going on, we obviously know Jalen Brunson and Karl-Anthony Towns are all-stars, but I think Josh Hart deserves a little bit of recognition for it. Now, I don't think he's going to end up making the All-Star team. Despite him getting some votes, I don't think he ends up getting selected by the coaches because they're the ones who pick the reserves. I don't think they're going to end up selecting Josh Hart just because the guard and forward areas are pretty loaded. So I don't think he's going to end up getting picked there, but I think he deserves that recognition because of the impact he's got on winning basketball games with this Knicks team. This season he's averaging over 14 points, 9.8 rebounds, over 5 assists. He's averaging a steal and a half as well, and he's also shooting very efficiently while taking more shots. He's averaging 9.6 field goal attempts this season, which is the most since the 2021 season when he was with the Pelicans and then the Blazers later on that year. And he's also shooting 55% from the floor, which is a massive uptick from last season. And he's shooting 36% from three on 3.43 attempts per night. Now, really, looking at those numbers and seeing what he did in the preseason, it's like night and day. Because during the preseason, he was not really attempting any shots. He was mostly kind of just being out there running around. He literally only had 2 points through all 4 games that he had appeared in during the preseason. I know they played 5 games in the preseason total, but he only played 4. But that's besides the point. What he is doing now and the way he is fitting in with the rest of the starting 5, you can't take him out of the starting 5 the way it is, because I know there's been a lot of people saying he would be better off the bench just because we need depth. You can't take him out of the starting 5. You can't, because he makes that starting 5 ultra complete. He gives you playmaking, he gives you scoring. The rebounding, of course, is just tremendous. I mean, he is literally tied for 4th in the most total rebounds in the month of January with Nikola Jokic, who is a 7-foot center and, of course, probably the MVP frontrunner at the moment. And the other 3 guys ahead of him are centers. So Josh Hart at 6'4" with 140 total rebounds this month, which is 4th in the league. That's insane. I mean, I can't say I've seen many guards really at his size have that kind of tenacity and that energy on the glass. I know we've seen guards do it in the past. We've seen Russell Westbrook, of course, average a triple-double for an entire season. So I know there's guards out there that have done stuff like this before in the past, but Josh Hart is kind of like that Walmart Russell Westbrook in a way, because he's not going to be dunking or anything like that, crazy like that. He's not super athletic, but he's very strong and he's willing to get into the paint at any cost. He's willing to put his whole body out there and with a bunch of 7-footers in the paint to just make a play. And that's really where it comes down to. That's why he's so valuable. That's why he's so important to winning, because he does all the little things. I don't really care if he's going to put up 2 points in the game, because even if he puts up 2 points, he'll probably end up with 12 rebounds and 8 assists or something like that. I know he had one game this year where he had literally 2 points, but he had 16 rebounds and 13 assists or something like that. So it was just insane. I mean, seeing his impact on every area is so crucial. Teams would love to have a player like Josh Hart. Matter of fact, teams would probably love to be able to field 5 of them at the starting 5 at the same time. He's a kind of a Draymond Green type of player as well, but in a guard's body, but way more aggressive at scoring. Draymond Green was never, of course, super aggressive as a scorer, but I mean, that also would be a beneficiary of playing alongside, Stephen Curry, Klay Thompson, Kevin Durant, all those guys who are, some of the greatest scorers of this generation. But Josh Hart, he's in the starting 5 with a lot of scoring options too. Jalen Brunson and Karl-Anthony Towns are averaging over 25 points per game. And, OG Anunoby's adding in 17 per game. Mikal Bridges 18 per game. So, Josh Hart's in there with a lot of other mouths to feed as well. And he's still getting his shots up. He's getting great shots up. He's getting great looks. And really, I think he's been exactly what I've wanted him to do this year and more. I was expecting him to be kind of like that Swiss Army knife, that kind of guy that can just do a little bit of everything, like I've been saying, but he's doing it at the best level I've ever seen him do it at. And he really did get recognized for it a little bit in the All-Star voting. I mean, he received 18 player votes, and he received over 300,000 fan votes. Now, of course, it wasn't enough to be selected for a starter, and I don't think it'll be enough to be selected for a reserve either, but either way, I think it really just shows the impact he's having. It shows that he's really the kind of that that engine, if you will, to winning a little bit. Obviously, you're led by Brunson and Towns; those are your two stars, and then you have Anunoby and Bridges being your little complementary pieces. But Josh Hart kind of just molds all that. He puts it all together. Like if you take Josh Hart out of that starting five, it is not nearly as intimidating as it would be without him. I'm just gonna be honest. Obviously it would still be a good starting five when you have Brunson and Towns there, but that's besides the point. Josh Hart completes that unit entirely because he gives you everything that you might be missing in a game. There might be a game where you're struggling with some rebounds. He's giving you rebounds at 6'4". There might be a game where you're struggling with scoring a little bit. Josh Hart's providing 20 points. Or same thing with playmaking. He's giving you 10 assists when you're struggling to move the ball around a little bit. Now I know at times his kind of reluctance to shoot a little bit kind of does hurt the offense just a little bit. He's not the most aggressive scorer. Sometimes he is out there kind of just looking to feed the other guys. He even said it himself. He's out there to just be a servant to those guys, which I respect that mentality, but I also would like to see him get involved, of course, a lot more offensively, which he has been lately. In the month of January, he's averaging double-figure points. He's been averaging double-figure points all season, I should say. He's averaging 14 a game, which is pretty much on track to be a career high at this rate. He was never exactly a scoring type of player. That never was Josh Hart. He was always kind of just like the guy who does the little things, the guy who the energy and the pesky guy who's getting all the rebounds or who's getting his hands on everything, making a play out of thin air essentially, because that's what it feels like Josh Hart is doing at times. But this year, it seems like Josh Hart is taking on a completely different role and one that is a lot more advanced than the versions we've seen of him in the past, which is really, really huge for the Knicks. It is, because when you have a guy that is willing to put their entire body out there and is willing to fight through injuries or, whatever it may be, when you have a guy like that out there, the sky is the limit for this team because, we already know the level of talent that the Knicks have is tremendous. You have two all-star starters, you have two of the best two-way players in the league in Bridges and Anunoby, and then you have Hart, who kind of gives you everything, as I've been saying. So when you have a guy like that, like Josh Hart on your team, who is able to provide pretty much anything at any given moment, whenever you need a big shot or whenever you need a big play, Josh Hart seems to always be there. Whenever there's a time where maybe a team is going on a run, team's making a lot of shots, they finally miss a shot, Josh Hart gets the rebound, or, the Knicks are struggling shooting, they're missing a lot of shots, Josh Hart comes flying in and grabs the offensive board to give him another chance. That's huge, especially, too, with the injuries that we've dealt with this year. Achua missing 21 games, Mitchell Robinson still not playing this year, Miles McBride missed a few games, so did Cameron Payne, Landry Shamet, of course, missed the first 2 months. Considering all that stuff, you need a guy like Josh Hart on your team to provide you pretty much everything that you're missing. And that's what he's been doing. And I'm really, really excited to see what he continues to do. I do think this is one of the best individual months of his entire career. He's had several games this season where he's had over 13 rebounds in a game. And I'm pretty sure he's got well over 20 some odd games of where he's got 10 or more rebounds, which is just insane for a guy who is 6'4". I can't say, like I said in the opening, there's not many guards that you can think of that are just doing that on a nightly basis. Obviously, you've got a couple exceptions, like I mentioned, Russell Westbrook, and I'm sure there's others out there, Oscar Robertson as well, from a long time ago if you want to go way back. But either way, when you see the way Josh Hart is playing, it's just phenomenal. And it really is a joy to watch him. It's a joy to watch him really kind of just go out there and embody what the Knicks are trying to be. The Knicks are trying to be that hard-working, hard-nosed team that is, not putting their backs against the wall, not backing down against anything. Josh Hart is that guy. No matter how depleted the team may be at times or how sluggish they look, Josh Hart seems like he always has energy. And that is really something else, too. His conditioning is off the charts because this guy is playing nearly 40 minutes every single night, yet he's still out there running around and making crazy plays and just wreaking havoc on opposing teams. That's what we paid him to do, and that's what honestly, he's playing below that contract standards at this point. A guy who provides as much as he is providing would be making a lot more money in today's NBA. So that really kind of just signifies how important he has been, how crucial he's been, and how lucky we are to have him. It's a luxury. I know it sounds like I'm really talking high on him, but his impact just cannot be overlooked. It can't. There's so much talent on this Knicks team that it's pretty easy to overlook an impact of one player. You can't overlook Josh Hart's. You just can't. The impact he is providing everywhere on the floor has been tremendous, and I'm really excited to see what he does in the second half of the year because he tends to kind of up his game a little bit in the second half of the season, and he's obviously been a playoff riser as we've seen the first 2 times he's been into the playoffs with the Knicks. So I'm really excited for that, and I really think he's going to be a very, very, very important piece down the stretch of the season and into the postseason. I don't think if Josh Hart, is not here, then I don't think the Knicks would be in the position they are in right now. I don't think they would be set up to make a deep run in the playoffs, all that stuff. I don't think they would be nearly as good as they are right now if you take Josh Hart off this team. I don't have much else to say, though. I do think this is a good place to wrap it up. I just wanted to come on here and talk about Josh Hart a little bit because his impact has been phenomenal. I, again, don't think he's going to make the All-Star team. If he does make the All-Star team, I would be very happy, of course. That would be 3 All-Stars on the Knicks, which would be just amazing. I do think Josh Hart is playing at the same... I think he's giving you the same type of impact that an all-star player would give you. I do think that, so I do think he deserves to get some recognition, but again, I don't think it's likely. I would be kind of surprised if he makes the All-Star team, but I would also be very happy, and I do think he would deserve it 100%. Let us know what you think about that, though, because I would love to hear if you guys think Josh Hart should be an All-Star or anything else in the comment section below, because I want to talk with you guys about that, and I want to hear from it. You can follow us on all of our social media platforms. We're on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and of course this YouTube page that you're watching the video on. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe on the video. You can also follow my personal Twitter account. It's right there on the screen. And I will see you guys in the next episode of Fireside Knicks. Peace out.